So the mat's all loaded up and I'm ready to cut with Sure Cuts A Lot too, and I use a lot of scraps for this. So you'll notice a lot of colors on the mat. And I use SVGs from the Digi Boutique, and I will be cutting them in my Cricut. And so you can see it's already cutting them. There does need to be a cartridge in your machine when you use the third-party software. And for those of you who don't own something that can cut with your bag, unfortunately, due to some legal issues, they are no longer compatible with the Cricuts, but they do work with other cutters. And if you happen to have already had the software, then of course you can cut it in your Cricut. So I've got my card base 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5, which is a half of a standard size sheet of paper, and I've got it lined up so that 3 inches is in the center here, and then I'm going to cut from 1 up to 6.5, which I have to figure out where that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So half is somewhere there. So if I should have a mark for my blade somewhere. I think it's the scissors. So I'm going to start it here at 1. Remember, this is 6. And go about 6.5. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and score it with my scoreboard. So what would standardly be 4 1/4, and the nice thing about the Score Buddy is that it's got this nice, it's marked there, which makes it very useful for making cards. So it's scored there. And then, oh, and I only wanted to do that halfway. See, not even paying attention to my own directions. And then on the other side, so my card's scored. You can see the accidental score line there. So 1 inch where it started, 6.5 where it stops. 1, 2, 3 inches. Or I'm sorry, 3 1/4 inches and 4.5 inches. And so I'm going to go ahead and fold the card at the 4 1/4 line. And then I'm going to fold at these other score lines as well. I'm going to make it a mountain fold, so I'm folding it down. So you can see the card all set up. So to decorate the card, I'm just going to put the different pieces together. So here's my tree, and so I cuddle bugged the treetop to kind of give it some texture, and I could have done these in the same colors. I just thought this gave it a little more, interest, and I'm going to just kind of offset it a little bit for some additional interest. And so my tree branch just goes right on as well. And I'm going to use some quick dry adhesive just for these little pieces here. And there you can see the tree already. You can see the one here has a dark base, and then it's got a pink layer and a purple layer and a top feather. So I'm going to go ahead and put some quick dried glue on the tail section. And I'm going to just do some swirls on the other part. And then he's just going to come together. And his beak and his feet stick off a little bit. They're on that first cut. And the advantage of this glue over the ATG is a little bit of wiggle time on it. And now I'm going to put on the purple layer as my Ferguson and Mort a little bit are screeching in the background. Those are my birdies. They're obviously jealous. And then this is the top feather, which I'm going to just use my ATG for that because it really doesn't have any fancy edges like the other pieces. And so then you can see cute little flying bird. We have another little bird, again, multiple pieces. His legs are in the brown layer. And since he's mainly rounded parts, I'm just going to go ahead and put him together with my ATG gun. You can see beak and feather, or feet are in that base color. Could have used an orange, but believe it or not, a lot of birds actually have brownish colored feet. My Fergie is one of those. He's got more like gray feet, so I thought brown feet made sense. And then the piece de la resistance, I haven't put them together yet, but the beak and feet were so small, I went ahead and added them to the layers. So we have this large layer, that's the brown again. And again, since these are fairly big cuts, I'm just going to use my ATG gun. As far as the feet, they actually do have ATG on them, but believe it or not, I put the ATG tape on the piece of thick cardstock when I cut, so it would stay very secure to the mat since it was such a thick piece, and the adhesive was still on it when I pulled the pieces up. So now the beak I actually did have to reapply some adhesive, but that was definitely one of those happy accidents because the paper was stiff compared to the others, and I've been using my mat for a while, so it's probably time to either re-stick it or, well, that was not good. But he'll look fine when we put him back down. I hope. There we go. He's fine. Isn't he cute? And he's got some pink cheeks too. I have the rosy bird cheeks. So there we have our rosy-cheeked little bird. So now we can go ahead and assemble our card. So as you recall, so I figure tree should go over here, and I have some grass as well. So, and actually I think the tree probably needs some pop-dots. So just some mounting adhesive. And this will give my tree just a little dimension. Pop them up. And you could use mounting tape just as easily. So, tree like that. And I actually cut the grass at 6 inches so that there'd be enough of it that it could go across the whole bottom of the card. And of course the card itself is not quite that long, so. But 6 inches gives me a little bit to play on the card. You want some playroom, certainly. And again, just a little bit of foam tape here. There we go. With a really thin piece here, which is why it's sticking to me. So, there we have one layer of grass, and I'm just going to put another layer on, and this time I'm going to use adhesive. Just plain old ATG adhesive. Kind of offset that. So we've got kind of a grassy layer. And there. So we got our grass, and then I have to decide, he should be flying. Maybe he should be on the ground. Or should baby bird be? No, definitely he should be at the back. And I have some white puffy clouds that I'm going to add. And that's why I chose to make my card blue, so that the white puffy clouds would show up. So you can see the scene, and I haven't glued him down yet, but you can see the scene is already taking shape. I gotta tell you, that adorable little bird is a little big. Maybe I should have put him down on the ground. Wee, wee, wee. And I've got some other puffy white clouds, but I don't think those really work, so. Best thing about slightly removable adhesive is that you can always move it. Okay, so here's the adorable card. You can see I ended up with the sweet bird in front, and then the flying bird in back with the clouds, and all of these came from the same set. So hopefully you'll have fun playing yourself.